Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Rangers Review morning briefing. It is October the 3rd, and it is match day, of course. I'm Derek Clark, and I'm joined by Chris Jack this morning. How's it going, Chris?
Not too bad, not bad. For once, it's you that's got the technical difficulties this morning rather than me. My Wi-Fi is working fully this morning, unlike yours. So apologies everyone for our tardiness, but the show will be of the usual standard, as you'll be pleased to know.
Yep, Wi-Fi issues down in the Clark household this morning. So, apologies for coming a little bit later, folks. I've also forgot to play our brand new shiny intro, so apologies if you're a big fan of that as well. But hey-ho, we will crack on regardless. Of course, it is a big day because Rangers take on Lyon at Ibrox in match day 2 of the Europa League. Philip Clement and Jack Butland were speaking to the press yesterday. Interesting, of course, given the news the previous evening that Ianis Hagi has returned to the first team squad. And, of course, Dujon Sterling signing that extended contract with the club as well. So we'll discuss the big talking points from that. Before my time, so the issue is solved. Both parties, the club and Hagi, came together, and now it is resolved. It's normal. He is back in the squad training, and it's getting him back to his best level. That's the job to do. He was quizzed, how does that feel from a football perspective? He says, yes, it's not an option yet. There is a way to go. The more players you can have to make a difference, the better as a gaffer. Clearly, I am happy this situation that I didn't like to have is resolved. And he was also asked as well, touch on, he was later on after he was quizzed on Dujon Sterling. He was asked, is there anything you can say about how Ianis has behaved? He says he has behaved all the time well. Our contact was good all the time. There was never a problem between us. We met a lot in the building. He did everything you'd expect from a professional player. In those situations, it is not always the case, but he has been an example in that way for sure. And on the issue of how far behind he is to the rest of the group, he says it doesn't work that way. He has trained one time. He trained all the time with the second team and the games to keep his fitness as high as possible. We'll see the next days and weeks how that is. It's about fighting for the places in the squad and the team. When I was on with Joshua on Tuesday night, just after the news broke, Chris, we were discussing Hagi and when we were likely to see him. I was thinking we'll probably see him on Sunday against St Johnstone. Surely we'll see him in the squad on Sunday.
You would think so, but as we know and as we have seen from Clement over the course of his time, he is not the type of manager that throws players in unless he feels they are completely ready, that they are fully up to speed and fully good to go. So I think it really depends what level he's at. Training either on your own or training with the B team, and then also playing in the B team games. Yes, it gives him some foundation in terms of his fitness and sharpness, but it's a very different level than stepping up to must-win games in a title race, or must-win cup games that Rangers have cup coming up as well. So I think he will be involved in the coming weeks. I don't think you'll see a team line come out on Sunday night that's got Hagi playing in that number 10 role. I think it will be a fairly slow process for him to build himself back into the first team. But pleased that it's just been resolved, mainly because it stops people asking about it. It stops the Hagi question coming up every so often. Do I like him as a player? Yes. Do I think he's a good player? Yes. Is he the answer to all of Rangers' problems this season? Probably not. I think there's maybe a large degree of one of these players that gets better in the eyes of some when he's not actually playing than when he is playing. But I think he can bring something different to the squad. I think he does have something to offer. But Tom Lawrence on form has done well in that number 10 role. It's only a couple of weeks since Rangers went and spent more than £3 million on Nadim Barami. He's the first choice number 10 if everyone is fit, and he doesn't have to be utilised left hand side. So I think Hagi will have a part to play, but I don't expect him to suddenly go from B team games to a key member of this starting lineup over the next couple of weeks.
Yep. His comments, Graham Hall with the point, don't think we'll see him anytime soon from PC's comments. I was quite enthused by the news, but after yesterday's press conference, I'm not entirely sure if we will see him soon. Listen, if Bayrami can come in on deadline day and feature at Tannadice a couple of days after, then Ianis Hagi, who has been in the building, should be able to integrate into the squad immediately, I would have thought. But listen, it's up to the manager, of course. Folks saying, where will he play? Like you say, Chris, Tom Lawrence, I think it's his shot to lose at this moment in time. Bayrami, of course, has come in and played wide left due to the injury situation out there. Václav Černý isn't pulling up any trees. I said it last week. I think I would have preferred Ianis as opposed to Václav at this moment in time over on the right, but he just provides an option for me. He is versatile. I'm not saying he's going to go and be the difference maker for Rangers and we're going to go on and win every single game, but he certainly provides an option to the manager even if it's just coming off the bench. He's a creative player. And especially when you're coming up against teams playing that low block and defensively minded, looking to close the space and not deny Rangers any opportunity in behind. Rangers need as many players like that as possible, Chris, is my argument, I would say.
They do. I think we spoke about it on the show the other day there about the lack of goals within this side. I think you do need as many options in the final third as possible, but they also have to be of the required quality. They have to be able to bring enough to the team. I would be surprised if we see them in one of the wider roles. And you look at how Clement has tried to set this side up over the course of his time here. He likes players on the flanks who are direct, who have a bit of pace about them. That's not really Hagi's game. He's more suited to playing more centrally, trying to operate in between the lines, trying to find those spaces. I think he can provide goals. I think he can score goals because we've seen that earlier on in his Rangers career. But in a Rangers shirt, that was a long time ago. We both had content on the site and on the channel almost 12 months ago, I think, going back to about Christmas time, looking at his loan out in Spain last year. That didn't really go as planned. He didn't really have the impact out there. So, yes, I do like Hagi as a player, but you're going on Hagi of not just last season, of a couple of seasons ago, and going a long way back to before his loan, before this situation, to before his knee injury, and you're then saying, well, if we can get that Ianis Hagi back, he has a part to play. You can tell virtually nothing from what he's done in the B team games. They're just kickabouts at a training ground somewhere. That doesn't prepare you for, I say, going into these must-win games that Rangers have coming up. So yes, I'm pleased that it's been resolved. I do wonder though why it wasn't resolved a whole lot sooner than this. Now, why do you then get to the start of October? It was evident for a long time that Rangers were trying to shift Ianis Hagi on. It became evident a couple of weeks before the end of the window. The options that he was looking for just weren't there for him. And I think we all almost could foresee this situation playing out. We knew the manager wasn't really exactly pushing it in public. And it became evident that there was a real danger Hagi would end up kicking about the B team. So if that was the case then, and there was a deal to be done, as there now obviously has been, why was this not done a couple of days after the end of the transfer window? No, why? Once it became clear that he was still a Rangers player, they had to find a way to try and integrate him back into the squad. You're as well paying him to be part of a first team squad than paying him to be part of the B team. So I don't get why I don't quite understand why it's taken as long for both parties to come to a solution here. This phase, or this how this has unfolded, should have been fairly obvious quite some time ago.
Yeah, the manager was asked on whether he got involved to urge both parties, the club and the player, to sit down and reach an agreement. He says, I don't want to respond to that. It's internal business. So other internal business is that new contract for Dujon Sterling. He said that Dujon showed several good things last and this season. For me, more last season than this season. He struggled a bit with his fitness, so we need to get him better in that way. He deserved his new contract. We believe a lot in his qualities for the future, and he's shown in different positions that he will fight for the club and the squad. It's important to keep those players in the club for the future. And he was pressed, is it important that Dujon settles into one position? His response, yes, of course, but you need to show that you can play 10 games in a row in that position. He can compete in a lot of positions with a lot of players, but you need to show consistency, and that is what we are going to work on with him in the next couple of months to make him that kind of player. Then he can compete in different positions, but the idea is to do it in one. So the Dujon Sterling contract extension until the summer of 2028. Again, speaking to Joshua about this on Tuesday night, and I know he and Stevie talked about it yesterday on the show. I'm all for this, Chris. Listen, I get the argument that he's been injured, and the manager did touch on it himself. Fitness has been a concern this season, and they're working on it with the player. But they need to tie down. He's an asset. Rangers need to tie down the assets, and Dujon Sterling is one of those.
I think he could be. Right now, I think we need to see more from him to suggest just how big an asset he actually is. He's certainly got a value to the squad and to the team. He's also got a value to the club in terms of the transfer market. But I think it's too early to say just how great that value actually is. I'm not against this move. I'm not stomping my feet and saying this is a terrible thing and why are they doing it. But timing for me seems slightly strange. Sterling, I think even when he has played this season, not looked that great. The manager hinted at that yesterday in terms of his fitness, and he needs to see more from him on a consistent basis. If you waited 6 months and then gave him a new contract until he had actually proven himself in one position or proven himself maybe in a couple of positions, but over a longer run of games, for me that would have made more sense. So I see the argument for it. I just don't see that why, I say 6 weeks after the transfer window, there's not going to be a huge line of clubs lining up for Sterling come January. Is it really ideal? Is it really something that had to be done right now? For me, no. But I don't think it's the biggest. I don't think it's the biggest issue. So I'm not going to get too upset by the fact that it's happened, but not as a jumping through hoops at the fact that it has happened either.
Yep. So that was a big news, of course, on Tuesday. But yeah, like you, Chris, I think he does have to show a resilience and a consistency that he is able to be called upon regularly, as opposed to playing a few games and then being out with a knock or what have you. So, interesting move from Rangers, but I think they need to get away from players, and Clement touched on this, particularly last season, Chris, where he says we cannot, as a club, have so many players running down their contracts and departing for free. That can't happen again.
No, it can't. That's a longer term issue rather than just one summer. That's an issue that Rangers have struggled with and fallen foul of a number of times. Not just like allowing players to leave for free, but not selling players at the right time to maximise their value. Glenn Kamara falls into that category, for example, and that was also evident when Ryan Kent and Alfredo Morelos left for free. Same thing happened this summer. Now, that's not to say you would have got huge fees for Lundstrom or for Barisic or for Ryan Jack, but when you're rebuilding the squad to the level that Rangers had to rebuild it, anything that comes in can then be put back out, and it would have been, not saying it would have been transformational, but it would certainly have been handy. And I say Rangers can't afford to, in football and financial terms, it's no use getting yourself into that position. You need players that are committed to the club, that are behind the manager, that are fully invested in whatever the club is trying to do. when you get down to that final 12 months, subconsciously you'll then start thinking, well, could I move on? There might be more money, there might be a bigger club, there might be opportunities to go and win elsewhere, there might be a club that suits family life a bit better, and that then can feed into a player's performances. So I think it's right that Rangers try and address this. I say Sterling wasn't in a situation of you have to tie him down now or he will leave for nothing, and there will be a whole host of clubs after him. That is the one reason. Just giving him that extra time buys him that security. Clearly, it's a show of faith from the manager. That show of faith will now be interesting to see how that plays out in terms of team selections. We'll obviously pick our side for the game tonight, and for me, Dujon Sterling doesn't start at right back. For me, he doesn't start in the middle of the pitch either. So interesting to see how the manager uses him. If he's saying he needs games, he needs a run, well, he's the man that can give him games and that can give him a run. But in a bigger picture, it does make sense to tie him down, and I'm sure it's something the club will look at in terms of other guys who do have that potential value within the squad, because they do need to put value back on the pitch, obviously, to have a bigger and better squad. They need to put value back on the bottom line as well, and to do that, you need players to be tied down on contracts that allow you to have some form of bargaining position in the transfer market.
Yeah, I'd be tempted to play him tonight, given what we're going to be up against, especially Lyon's left-hand side. Bill with the point says, if PC knows what position he has in mind, get him in there. The guy deserves it after all the positions he has filled in. So that is Bill's point of view on that. So looking towards tonight then, I think at Lyon, it's fair to say, step up from Malmo. They kicked off their Europa League campaign with a 2-0 win at home to Olympiacos. If not the best of starts in Ligue 1, it's fair to say. Mid-table, a bit of an iffy start. They got past Toulouse at the weekend, but there is murmurings of dressing room unrest. I know that their experienced goalkeeper, Antonio Lopez, is not too happy about being demoted, as he's played, I think, 400 games or what have you for the club, but he's been binned, and a number of the players aren't really hitting the heights. Wilfried Zaha being one of them, on loan from Galatasaray. They've also got the likes of Alexander Lacazette. Benrahma used to play for West Ham as well. So they're a team littered with outstanding quality, Chris, and I expect to see many of the big hitters playing tonight. But is this a chance, do you think, for Rangers? Given back at Ibrox, of course, those European nights under the lights. I've seen many comments say Thursday nights are Rangers nights. Do you fancy Rangers this evening?
I don't know if you can fancy them by saying Rangers will definitely go out and win this game. I think you can fancy them by saying they have a chance. They have an opportunity there if they can find a higher level of performance than they've shown once again. If they can take the Malmo performance up another level, then I think they do have a crack. Myself and Steve actually spoke about this on the talking point this week that you can also watch on the channel, and we discussed that Ibrox factor. Being back at Ibrox, I think you can't underestimate how important that is. I think the Kiev game could have unfolded differently, even with the red card to Shefty. That night could have unfolded differently for Rangers if it had been at Ibrox, and Ibrox had been behind that team that night. Obviously, wasn't the case, and as a result, Rangers find themselves where they are. Lyon, one of the better sides that Clement side will face this season. Certainly a better outfit than Malmo. But Rangers were really impressive last week. Now, to go away from home to put in that level of performance, it was 2, but it could easily have been 3, 4, 5 on the night. That was the benchmark. Safe to say they didn't get back to that level at the weekend. I thought the Hibs game, as we've spoken about, it was very run of the mill. It was very flat, both on and off the park. That can't be the case tonight. If Ibrox is flat, I think the team will be flat. The team have to give the fans something to get behind. The fans have to give the team that extra lift just to try and get them going. And if they could somehow take even just a point tonight, with Stoya to come at Ibrox in a couple of weeks' time. All going well that night. That then leaves you 7 from the first 3. I think that's a very, very decent start to this section. We don't really know yet how many points it's going to take to finish in the either in the playoff round or to qualify automatically. It's still also too early and too hard to see how this new league format is going to unfold. But you'd like to think any team that gets 7 from the first 3 would definitely put themselves within a really good chance of getting out into the next phase of this competition. So I think they do have a chance, but it will probably take the best performance of Clement's tenure, and that's including going away to Betis and playing fairly well in stages in the Benfica games.
Yeah, well, just on the match, the manager was quizzed. 2 wins to start the Europa League would feel huge. He says it would, but also winning against Lyon would be a huge thing. Even a draw would be a very good result if you see the budget difference. So we go full for that and the 3 points, not to play only for 1 point. We need everyone on top and a few players to go above their level to have an amazing evening with the fans, like a 12th player on the pitch. But I don't think you have to worry about the fans. I think they'll play their part tonight, that's for sure. Just some points coming in off the back of potential team selection tonight and playing against Lyon. Before we do that, Scott Hay gets in touch. Happy birthday to my son Taylor. A Rangers win will be the perfect birthday present. Yeah, happy birthday, Taylor. Hopefully your birthday hopes and dreams come true tonight and you have a great day. Ali Filitelli says a Lyon podcaster that kept describing them as dreadful. Hopefully they're the same tonight. Yeah, spoke to Tom Abadi, who covers Lyon in great detail. Some interesting stuff from him. Go and check it out on the YouTube channel, folks. But he was talking about the summer transfer business, how it hasn't quite clicked for them as yet, but there's no doubt about it. There is still a quality side and able to punish you. And any mistakes tonight, Rangers will have to keep to a minimum. With regards to that, Andrew Stewart with a point, and we'll go on to our team selection, Chris. But he says, Chris Derrick, in my opinion, Clement has one big decision to make tonight. Will Casemiro replace Tav after Cass's performance last week? I think he deserves it. James Tavernier's not getting dropped tonight, Chris. I would be stunned if that was the case. That doesn't mean it's right or you should do it, but he's not dropped the captain. Casemiro, though, did well against Marmot on the left-hand side. What do you do in the back line? Suter and Roper, I think they're building up a decent partnership, the pair of them. That's your 2 centre-backs. I'd imagine Tav's on the right. On the left, Jefty?
That's the 4 that I would go for, and that's the 4 that I think it will be. As you say, there's not a chance that unless Tav wakes up this morning or has woken up this morning and is not feeling like it or has picked up an injury, then he's playing tonight. There's no way that Clement is dropping the captain for a game like this. So even if he did, to go back to the point that was raised there, if the manager decided that Tavernier wasn't going to play tonight, it has to be Dujon Sterling that goes in there. As impressive as Casemiro was last week, if Rangers see Dujon Sterling as being a James Tavernier replacement and being the next Rangers right back, if you then drop the current Rangers right back, it has to be him that then goes in and say, right, Dujon, go and show us what you can do. This is your chance. It can't be the guy who's only just in the door a couple of weeks. You could, if you really wanted to get Casemiro in the side, like that suggestion there, he could go left back. Jefty could move up one. Barami then goes in one from wide in the left to number 10. Tom Lawrence then misses out in that format, which I think would be harsh because I have been critical of him at times, but I think so far this season he's been good. So I think Lawrence plays, Barami plays from the left, Jefty plays at left back, and as you said there, the rest of that back 4, it's Suter, Proper. Has been a good partnership. It's certainly showing signs. I know that the manager and Jack Butland spoke about that in the presser yesterday. Signs of encouragement within that partnership. But I say right back. I know Tav's name comes up every time we do a pre-match show. It's this situation of drop Tav. He needs a rest. He shouldn't be playing. He should be rested at some point. He cannot play every minute of every game as he has been asked to do at various stages of his Rangers career. Clement has to alter that at some point. This evening is not going to be this isn't going to be the game where he starts making those decisions.
Yeah, Jim with the point says, our weak link is definitely opposing teams who target Tav. Every team is wise to that now. Yeah, totally agree, Jim. I would be inclined to play Dujon perhaps just in that midfield right-hand side area just to help Tav out, because I imagine Lyon will be targeting Rangers right. So, yeah, I'd probably be looking at Dujon starting over on that side. Interestingly, the manager was asked yesterday about Nico Raskin and why he was hooked at half-time in the match against Hibs. He says it was a tactical thing in the game for him. His role has changed this season compared with last season in midfield. We do slightly different things, so he needs to adapt in that way like every other player. We showed after the images he's hungry to learn and he will become better. Nico can do two roles in the midfield. The role of Connor Barron also is about learning and getting better in that way. He also said Diamandi will be back, Chris, which is good news. Thought he was excellent against Malmo. He plays, you'd imagine. Connor Barron plays. That's the midfield. If I'm wanting Dujon Sterling in there, then I'm thinking, where does Tom Lawrence fit in? Which is quite incredible given what his form has been in recent weeks. He really has been playing well for Rangers. Perhaps does Bairami maybe drop out for me? Czerny certainly drops out. That might be a move for the manager to go down. Does Czerny start for you?
On form, no, but on you look at the situation, then yes, because I just don't think there's a standout alternative on that right hand side. You could say Dujon Sterling goes in there and plays on that right side. That could then offer you the Tav protection that you referenced there, and a couple of people have spoken about if Sterling's playing ahead of him, perhaps gives Rangers a bit more solidity on that right hand side. I wouldn't be completely against Sterling starting in the midfield, but it would then be Tom Lawrence that would drop out for me, and that would then involve a change of system and playing a bit more of a flat three. Barron and Diomande play. Sterling appears to sit slightly deeper and going alongside them. I wouldn't be averse to that, but the manager has not shown any real willingness to go in that way. So I think Lawrence will probably get the nod to start and have that role as he has done over the last few weeks, and it will then be Diomande and Connor Barron. Interestingly, we were obviously asking about Raskin yesterday. I didn't think he was that bad in the first half on Sunday that he deserved to be hooked at half time. The manager saying it's a tactical thing, and clearly thought that Kieran Dell could bring something to the game that Nico Raskin couldn't. What that is, I'm not quite sure at present, to be honest with you. I think if you're doing like a midfield pecking order, Raskin is ahead of Dowell. Raskin won't get a start tonight either. I don't think there's a real clamour for him to start tonight. So I think it will be, I say, Diomande and Barron. That's the two. If the manager wants to go slightly more defensive, I'd be happy to see Sterling in there, but I think he'll go as he's shown so far, and it will be Lawrence. That right hand side, there's maybe something in there in terms of taking Czerny out and putting Sterling in there, but I'd be surprised if it's McCausland and there's then not really another option. Well, we're missing Matondo and Cortez from the other side.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, I finished the game on Sunday with three right backs on the field. Cashin Mirzo was sort of right back. Dujon Sterling was playing, and Tav was sort of moved up and in an inverted role, if you like. So I wonder if that is an eye into the future, possible positional changes. Who knows? But I fully expect Tavernier to start at right back tonight. Looking forward to the game. Listen, it's going to be a big test for Rangers, but you'd never back against the club picking a result up on Thursday nights in the Europa League. It's a competition that has served Rangers well in recent years, and I think they're due a win over Lyon as well, Chris. Both sides a weird situation where neither team has won a home match against each other. Rangers have lost the last two matches against Lyon at home. Would like that to change tonight, that's for sure. And like you say earlier on, it would put Rangers in a great position in this new league format. If you can pick up maximum points from your first two games heading into those matches. Steaua Bucharest, you'd like to think that they're good enough to pick up 3 points from that, although I do have the fear of Romanian teams coming to Ibrox. I'm still not over Unirea, but yeah, you'd like to think that would put the club in a very strong position to make it out to the knockout stage if they can pick up maximum points tonight.
It's a real opportunity for Rangers tonight, because you're looking at some of the other sides that they will face. You could all but write off the Man United game and the Spurs game. You'd think they're just going to be, now anything can happen, of course.
Dead rubbers.
Anything is possible. Rangers could somehow go and get a result against them, but on the balance of probabilities, you have a better chance.
Man United, certainly. I want to go down there and wipe the floor with them. They are hopeless.
That could be the game that finally gets football stopped, given the respective state of both clubs and institutions at present. But on the balance of probabilities, a home game against Lyon does offer Rangers probably more of a chance than some of those two. Some of the other fixtures, Nice away could be tricky. So there's still points there to be played for Rangers. There's still opportunities there for Rangers. They can still finish this campaign strongly. Got off to a great start. It's now about reaffirming that, and this would be a really big result for them if they could go and reaffirm it.
Yep, yes, and it's going to be a tough task for Rangers, but very much looking forward to the game. Before we wrap up, as a Sniper and many others say congratulations to Super Ali for his OBE. Yeah, absolutely richly deserved. Great to see Ali getting that recognition. It was awarded it by Prince William yesterday, and I think it's 30 years since he got his MBE, Chris. Mm-hmm. But I think there's no one more deserving of that than Ali McCoist. He brings so much joy to everyone, really, and certainly for his broadcasting work in recent years, everyone's falling in love with him. If you've got Ali McCoist co-commentating on your game, then it'll be a game worth watching.
It's surely only a matter of time before the knighthood is in the post. No more fitting a tribute than Sir Super. But great to see him. I saw a couple of interviews that he did yesterday. It's really great to see him get that honour, and as you say, thoroughly deserved for his efforts both on and off the park.
Yep, most definitely. Well done, Ali. Right, that'll do us there. A big thank you to you all for tuning into the show. As ever, we'll have all the usual videos and reaction to come tonight. So we'll be with you when the teams drop around about 6:30ish, I'd imagine. So hopefully you can join us for that. I'd imagine you're heading along to Ibrox, Chris?
Yes, I'll be there from the back of 6 or so, hopefully. See Josh, and we'll get our plans for the evening, and then we'll see if Rangers can hold up their end of the bargain and make all the plans go smoothly.
Yeah, over to you, Rangers. Right, that'll do us there. We'll speak to you later on, folks. Bye for now.